everybody, how's it going today? Check this out. Across from the church, they're going to put a housing development in here. And the other day they pulled this big bad boy up and they were dropping it off, and I thought, holy mackerel, look at that machine. That thing is a beast. And I thought, you know what? Some major stuff's going to be happening pretty quick. I mean, look at the size of that thing. I mean, it is a monster. And so I was just thinking that, holy mackerel, the size of that thing. Imagine the work that this thing could do. Let me turn around so you can see it. I mean, I'm standing beside it. Look at that thing. What a beast. But this thing can do some serious work. I mean, like in no time at all. Imagine trying to do what this thing is going to be able to do literally, I mean, with a shovel. I mean, this thing can do more in 10 minutes than I could do all day with a shovel, without question. I mean, when you look at that, check that thing out, huh? And so can you imagine trying to do the work that this thing could do? I mean, literally, it probably, if we was going to try to do that with a shovel, I mean, this thing would never get done. And yet this thing's going to tear it up in no time at all. It's going to make a huge difference. And so it kind of got me thinking that a lot of times I tackle things in my own life, and I work and I work and I work and I struggle, and I just trying to get some things done. You know, I mean, just trying to get things done, provide for family, do ministry, you know, make all that stuff happen. It just seems like I'm not getting anywhere. Then the next thing you know, all of a sudden I get this bright idea. Hey, why don't you ask the Lord how to take care of it? Why don't you ask the Lord what to do? And so you know what happens when I do that? I mean, y'all know where I'm headed with this, right? Next thing you know, I switch from a shovel to this thing. I mean, and all of a sudden, things start happening a lot faster than if I would have spent literally a lifetime. So check this out. So the disciples, they had been fishing, and these guys knew exactly what they were doing, right? I mean, they've been here for a while. They've been fishing. This is how they made their living. And so they had it down pat. But they've been fishing all night and hadn't caught a thing, you know? So Jesus comes along and he says, hey, he says, you know, you guys got any fish? And Peter said, no, we ain't got one fish. And so Jesus said to him, he said, hey, cast your net on the other side of the boat. Now that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I mean, none whatsoever. But they went ahead and did it. What happened? Next thing you know, they begin to catch fish that literally was such a massive catch that they needed help. And the boats were actually starting to sink because they just simply brought Jesus into the picture. You know, when you bring the Lord into your picture, listen what happens. You go from a shovel to this bad boy. Next thing you know, things happen so fast, and it would seem as though they were actually impossible. Listen, look at this thing here. If you look at those tines on the front of that thing, now tell me that bad boy can't tear up some hard ground, some roots that have been in there for a while, some things that just, I mean, there's no way that you could do with a shovel what this thing can do. You'd work the rest of your life trying to get that thing taken care of, and yet this thing in just a matter of minutes can change the whole package, can change the whole deal. That's the way the Lord is. You know, he said to in the Old Testament, he said to the prophet, is there anything too hard for me? And you know what the answer was? The answer was absolutely not. There is nothing that's too hard for the Lord. And why? I mean, look at me standing beside this thing. It's because God is so much bigger than we are. And he can do so much more than we ever thought that we could do. I mean, so listen, all you got to do, let him in. Cast your cares on him. The Bible says he cares for you. Let him in on whatever situation that's happening in your life. You say it's too difficult. It's not too hard for God. It's relationships are being messed up in your life. It's not something that he can't untangle. If it's a financial situation, there ain't nothing he can't help dig you out of. And it can happen literally in no time flat, because listen, God is a lot bigger than we are. He can do a lot more than we can. Listen, anybody can catch fish if you know where they are. Jesus knows where the fish are. Let him in on your situation. Let him in. Let him begin to tear up the ground that's been hard for a long time. Let him get those roots, those things that you've been battling for years, that's dug down into the very depths of your heart. He can get them out. He can make a new place in your heart for that's fresh and that can receive new life and that can give you a new perspective. Just let the Lord have it. Turn it over to him and see what he can do. God bless you guys. We'll catch you next time on MidPoint.